Summertime is heating up at Global Voice Broadcasting. Hot music, hot talk, and hot topics. All day, every day, 24/7. You don't want to miss a minute on Global Voice Broadcasting.
I highly recommend Ms. Hicks. Her books, her CDs are encouraging.
I bought her book, A Hill to Climb. She's a very inspirational speaker.
And I look forward to one day being able to work with her.
Your power lies within you. Let it loose.
Aspiration, inspiration, motivation, edification, determination. These are the keys of life success brought to you by none other than award-winning author, motivational lecturer, business consultant, and much more as she gets you aimed to your purpose. And now, ladies and gentlemen, young and elder, from Hollywood to the entire world, here is your host of Aim to Purpose, the radio show, Louise Hicks, along with her co-host, Kenan Wesley Mason.
Hello, world. I'm your host of Aim to Purpose, Louise Hicks. Wasn't that exciting and dynamic? It's not every day that we get an opportunity to get introduced by your own son. This is my biological son, Kenan Wesley Mason, the dynamic Kenan Wesley Mason, who gave me that awesome introduction. Thank you, Ken. Now, you may be asking, what does Aim to Purpose mean? What is it all about? This is our premiere show, and we're coming to you live from Hollywood at the GVB Radio Network. And let me share with you a little bit about Aim to Purpose. You might wake up every morning, and usually I ask a question. How would you like to wake up every morning knowing who you are and feeling peace, prosperity, joy in your life? That's what Aim to Purpose is all about. And I am just amazed that I'm here today. And we're going to share with you some hot topics. We're going to talk about spirituality. We're going to talk about health. We're going to talk about life. We're going to talk about work. We just will have a variety of topics to speak with you about. Now, I'm going to let my co-host, my son, Kenan Wesley Mason, tell you a little bit about himself.
Well, first, I want to say hello to the entire world that's listening right now. And just briefly, before I give it back to the host, I want to take this opportunity first and foremost to say thank you to Global Voice Broadcasting for allowing us this platform to bring a different perception to the world on any and every topic that may be available to man, and also to bring some fun to the audience, laughter, joy, peace, happiness, all the good things in life that we're meant to have just by nature. So I want to thank my mom for giving me the opportunity in wanting me to be her co-host and helping hand to get this dynamic, soon-to-be dynamic show off the ground. So for everyone involved, I want to thank everyone that kind of helped us to get things rolling here. And it's funny to me because we were just talking on the way here about some of the topics that we are going to discuss. I believe that this will be something that will gravitate to the masses, and over time, you'll just bring in more listeners, new listeners, listeners that want to be informed about what you may be misinformed about. So that's what this show is about, and much more. And I'll let Louise kind of explain more.
And much more, yes, it will be much more. Now, let me share a little bit with you audiences across the world about who I am. I'm an author. I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a businesswoman. I'm a mother. I have 3 beautiful children. Kenan just happens to be my oldest. And I have a son, David. David is part of the reason I'm here today. And it's not a beautiful story that got me here when it comes to David. It was a sad story. However, we can take any situation in our lives and turn it into something joyful that can help other people. This book, A Hill to Climb, a teenager's battle with cancer, depression, and drug addiction, is one of the reasons that I'm here with you today. This is a story that has inspired people across the world. I even had a person from France to email me, message me on Facebook about this book. People across the world, because it's an inspiring story that chronicles the triumph that I had when my son David was 14 years old and was diagnosed with a rare bone cancer. That was a devastating ordeal. However, today I can say that David's ordeal and our going through this traumatic experience helped me to put my life in the proper perspective. And today, here I am at 63, embarking up on a second career, because I worked 32 years for the County of Los Angeles, where I was in management and shared with so many people assistance in helping them to become who they are today in various capacities in management, supervisory positions, and so forth, because I was a manager in the County of Los Angeles for 32 years. Then, after retiring in 2006, in which I'm going to share with you some of the reason that I retired, and that story will come later on. But this is what has brought me to where I am today. This little young black girl with a dream at 12 years old from Shreveport, Louisiana, who sat on the porch of her grandmother. And I know we all have stories about our grandmother. Everyone has a story. And I used to sit on my grandmother's porch and daydream about what I was going to be doing. And one of the things I daydreamed about at 12 was that I was going to be a best-selling author. Goes to show you, anything that you want to do in life, you can do it. When you come from a background of no riches, we had no riches, but here I am today, and I'm going to share with you so many life-changing experiences that I have had along with my son. And it's going to be an awesome journey for us, with this being our premiere show. And feel free to call in and join us at 323-522-5482. Give us your comments, your thoughts, and anything that you want to talk about, because we're going to be sharing some hot topics with you. And as I said, when you wake up in the mornings and you know who you are, you have made a milestone in your own life. And that is what Aim to Purpose is all about, knowing who you are. And we're going to assist you with knowing who you are, because we're going to help you to catapult yourself to your highest calling, the purpose that you have in life, because all of us have gifts and talents. However, it's about brain power. Now, let me share with you a little bit of how Aim to Purpose came about.
But before we do that, really quick, we have our first caller already within the first 9 minutes of being live on the air. Caller, are you there? Hello.
Hello, caller? Can you hear us, caller?
Hello, caller? Can you hear us, caller? Yes.
Go ahead, caller. If you can hear us, go ahead.
I hear a voice, but caller, if you can hear us, give us a call back, and maybe we can get you on the air so we can hear you.
I think we may be having a little bit of a technical difficulty right now with our caller. So give us a call back because we can't hear you.
Yes, and also when you call back, listen through the phone instead of through your computer so everyone can hear you simultaneously. So please give us a call back. But you can continue.
Okay, and let me share with you, as I was stating, how Aim to Purpose came about. In 2010, I was in Dallas, and I wanted to do something. This is Dallas, Texas. I wanted to do something for the community and outreach because that's part of what I do. I like to share my journey, my experiences with everyone to help elevate someone else, because my thinking is when you elevate someone else, you also elevate yourself. So I did a community outreach in the city of Dallas, Texas in 2010. This was November, and it was called Moving Forward Through Faith, Knowledge, Love, and Action. And it was a small gathering, but small gatherings can really bring about something huge. And that's what happened because I had a vision. And about a month later, I had a greater vision. That little gathering was so successful. We had food, people cooked, brought in a lot of food. We just had just an awesome time talking with other authors whom I had brought in and gotten together. And from that, I woke up one morning, about 4 o'clock in the morning, and Aim to Purpose came to my mind. And I said, what is this all about? I started speaking to God and praying, what is Aim to Purpose all about? And it came to me, aspiration, inspiration, motivation, edification, and determination. And I said, that's powerful. I remember one of my teachers when I was graduating from high school had written in my little book, Louise, aim high and you will reach your destiny, something to that effect. And I said, wow, she gave me my aim. That was all about aspiration, inspiration, and motivation. I just needed to get that edification and knowledge. And here I am today at 63, and the other part, the purpose came to me. Because we all are born with a purpose. We just need to transform ourselves to know what that purpose is all about and what it is. Now, that purpose is empowering yourself to pursuing urgently realistic potential opportunities successfully envisioned. And notice I said urgently because life is short. Sometimes we may think we have a lifetime to get our gifts and talents together, but we really don't. And I'm going to let Ken share a little bit because this is my son. I raised him. I raised 3 children, and I didn't share with you yet about my daughter, Crystal. She's going to come into the studio because she's an entrepreneur. She's a businesswoman. She's going to be 25 in a couple of months. And I raised them with purpose, helping them to understand. And we know we're not born with all of this intuition on how to raise children and be a parent. But I want Ken to tell you a little bit about what I did as a parent. And I made mistakes along the way. That's life.
Well, and I thank you that, the way that you raised me. And even now that I'm older, we may not disagree on everything. We don't have to disagree on or agree on everything. But we can have a respectful dialogue between each other as mother and son. And you've allowed me to express how I've gotten here to this point. I started, my journey to this point starts from, elementary school, just learning life. I've always been really in tune with how the body works, how the mind works, how we function as human beings. And through elementary school, I've always been intrigued with just how we operate, or where we come from, all of the questions that seem to never be answered, and we may never get the answers. I don't know. But I've always been intrigued with us and how we operate as human beings. So in my late 20s, after, going through different jobs and whatnot, not really knowing which direction that I wanted to go, I started going to school for massage therapy, which totally was the starting point for opening me up to how big and grand this world is, and how not only how small we are as human beings in comparison to the universe, but how much power that we possess as human beings, which is pretty much equivalent to that of the universe. And in learning all of these things through massage therapy, I had a wonderful teacher, Timothy Zembeck, who really took the time out to teach not only myself, but all the other students really thoroughly how we all function as human beings, and how touch therapy can really be something that, because we in our society, we don't give enough hugs and love and affection to each other. We're so fearful of having people in our space. So one thing that I had to learn was to learn the behaviors of us as human beings. And then along the way, I started learning more about food and how food affects us, and learning how to differentiate organic food versus our conventionally grown foods. So I've learned how to do things different to make myself better.
And that's a good thought, because Ken, I have learned so much from Ken, and it's amazing how when we sit back and we take a look at our children and we look and say, wow, I have learned so much, because he's a very intuitive person. He researches so many things. I mean, he's busy all the time researching and learning about how all of these different foods we eat affect our body and what impacts our body. And I've learned so much from you, Kenan, and I really thank you and appreciate it. And I know you're going to share so many things as we get into this show. And we're not going to have a guest today, but we're going to have a guest. Hopefully every week we'll have a guest to bring to you different thoughts, different topics. And with Aim to Purpose, it's just about catapulting you to where you need to be. And along with those components that we talked about, the aspiration, inspiration, there are some elements that came with Aim to Purpose. And they are vision, hope, faith, knowledge, and action. Those are the 5 elements. And I always keep pen and paper by my bed, because I think I must think in my sleep, because I wake up and I have all these thoughts running through my head, and I'm saying, oh, I got to get this on paper, because if I don't, I might forget. Now, I'm not old yet, because I'm only 63, and, a lot of people think of themselves at 63. Well, I'm old, but not me. I'm just getting started here. And my kids will tell you that. They look at me and they tell me, Mom, you're old. And I look and say, oh, no, like my mother used to say, only clothes get old. And I think about how these elements can elevate you to where you need to be, but you have to have a vision, because we have that DNA, I call it, that divine natural ability within us that we're born with. Everybody is born with it. That's my philosophy. We're all born with that DNA, that divine natural ability to be able to be creative and to think. So I keep that pen and paper by my bed, and I wake up 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes Crystal will come in and she'll see that light on, and she'll wake up and she'll say, what are you doing? I said, oh, I just woke up with a thought, so I'm writing it down. So with that, just keep in mind that you can do anything that you want to do in life. And we're going to have some dynamic guests that will help you and assist you to live and just transform to the person that you were born to be, because that's who we are. We shouldn't have to struggle. No one should have to struggle in life. And I had to find that out the hard way. So we want you to jump into that pool, the pool of success, and know who you are and get what you want in life. So with that being said, we're going to take a commercial break here. We're going to take a pause for the cause. Our show is brought to you by L. Hicks Consulting Services, LLC. And we're going to take a break. And while we take this break, we are also going to share with you a little information and video about hot topics.
Hot topics.
So we'll be right back.
Ruth waited for her Boaz. She wouldn't just settle for anybody. The Bible said Boaz was a handsome man, a rich man, a spiritual man, a sensitive man, and that equals a husband. You gotta wait. You gotta wait on your Boaz. Don't just settle. But if you're not careful, when you go left and it's Friday night and you don't have a date and you're freaking out. I don't have a date. I didn't get married until I was 25. And you know, I just made a decision. I knew there was a call on my life. And I just said, I'm not going to go out and date just anybody and everybody. Because I know me. Don't freak out because it's Friday night and you're in Saturday night and you're in church instead of the club. Boaz has some relatives, and if you don't watch it, you won't get the one God has for you. You'll get his relatives. To the girls, I found this on the internet. Boaz is spelled B-O-A-Z. Everybody say B-O-A-Z. And so he's got some relatives called broke-ass, po-ass, lying-ass, cheating-ass, dumb-ass, drunk-ass. Don't go out with him. Cheap-ass. Turn to somebody and say, I dated him. Locked up ass, good for nothing ass, lazy ass, and especially his third cousin beating your ass. Wait on your Boaz and make sure he respects your ass. Now there's your word. You wanted a word, you got a word. Quit dating anything on two legs.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Go ahead, kid. I'm going to let you talk some more.
Wow. Well, that is definitely cause for being a hot topic. I mean, this will be one of the dynamics of the show, bringing elements such as this, what you just saw on the screen. From what I understand, a lot of people were upset by this particular pastor saying what he said to his congregation. Personally, I don't see what the problem was. Do you?
No, actually I don't, because he made a good point, and it's about knowing who you are. He's giving some good insight here. And that's what our show is all about, sharing insight. Because we need to learn to change our way of thinking so that we can transform ourselves to capture who we are. Because right now, many of us don't know who we are. We don't know how to promote ourselves to get the most out of life. And that's what our journey is all about. Sometimes when we're young, we think, oh, I'm going to live forever. I'll share a little story with you. I remember when I was about, 19 or 20, I was in the bank line with what I would call a more mature woman. She may have been 60s or 70s. Of course, when we're young, we all think everybody over 25, I think, is old.
It's old. Old as dirt.
But yeah, old as dirt.
Old as dirt.
Because sometimes that's what my kids think. And I mean, I don't think I'm old as dirt. I'm just beginning here. But this lady shared something with me. And she said, now, I was telling her, I said, you know, I'm here. I'm a student in college. At that time, I hadn't graduated from college. I graduated within the 4 years. I put myself through college. And this lady, I was sharing with her, I said, oh, you know, I'm really broke. I don't have any money but the little bit I had because I was working as a student in the admissions office at the time. And she said, let me tell you something, baby. She says, don't you ever call yourself broke. She said, because whatever you speak, that is who you are and who you become.
That's right.
And I said, oh, okay. She said, just say it's not in my budget. So at an early age, I learned something that stuck with me to this day because I was only about 19 at the time. And I thought I was broke, not knowing I was wealthy because I didn't know at the time what I was going to become. So I said that to say this. We have to learn to not be so judgmental about others and what my grandmother used to tell us, before you can extract that mote from somebody else's eye, look at the big beam in your own eye. And that carried a long ways with me too, because I had an awesome grandmother. In fact, both of them were awesome. So with that, Ken, I just know to me, he was telling the truth. We have to watch how we live our lives.
Well, not only that, I think that particular clip came from a post that was on Facebook, because we can post anything practically on Facebook. And the way the wording was structured, I guess because this pastor spoke in such a broken English terminology, that it caused this hoopla, which, in layman terms, if you have the mentality that you're broke, that's what you're going to become. If you have the mentality of dating someone, if you have the mentality of being broke, you're going to date someone more than likely that will be broke, or quote broke. You have to raise your you have to raise your level of imagination in what you want. If you keep the broke mentality, you're always going to have broke mentality episodes in your life. This is how it works. And so with these kind of topics, we're going to just bring an entirely well, I can only speak for me, but I'm going to do the best that I can to bring a fresh looking at things through a totally different lens, that some may agree and some may not. But the purpose is, in Aim to Purpose, is to bring truth as we know it, and bring the audience in to take part in that purpose.
And that is so true, because it's your truth. And we got to learn to stop thinking so much about the negatives. And as I said, we're going to bring to you topics about spirituality, health, education, the hot topics that we just got through discussing. We're going to bring entertainment news. If you know anyone, I know someone that's very dynamic with entertainment news, none other than my publicist, Miss Shamika Brown, who has been very instrumental in helping us to get our premiere show together. And hopefully she may bring us some entertainment news. But we have so many topics that we're going to discuss. We're going to be discussing some work issues, because I have lots of experiences that I can share with you to help transform you about life, your mind, because it's all a mindset, actually. And from where I came from, a little black girl from Shreveport, Louisiana, living out in the country, where we were basically classified by some standards as poor, even though we felt we were very wealthy, because we had parents and grandparents. We were part of what you would call extended family. And I know many of you know about what an extended family is all about, because you've lived it. And that's where I came from, where the grandparents could tell you what to do. And I just loved my grandparents, because we spent a lot of time with them. And with technology today, we can reach across the world. And thank you all for tuning in today to this premiere show and listening to us, because we know we are live. We're across the world now, sharing with you globally about what we're all about and what Aim to Purpose can do to help each of us captivate what's in our mind and bring it out to reach our highest calling in life, and use those gifts and talents to help others. Because I tell you, I did a speaking engagement at a NAMI event, and that's the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And that's an event that I truly love. And I've done speaking engagements in Dallas, Texas with the NAMI organization. I've done them here at the Metropolitan State Hospital. And I assisted someone that wanted to commit suicide. And this young man I had known all of my life. He had moved to another state out east, and he wanted to give up. We're talking about a veteran who had gone to war, and that's another topic we'll be discussing about all of our vets who have gone to war and
we were just discussing
fought for
that
us.
on the way here.
Yeah, we were discussing that too, because it's so many problems and crises in our society, but we can take those things and turn them into a positive. And at these NAMI organizations, we share with each other on how we can help the mentally ill. And I have a son that inspired my book, David, who I talk about a lot at the NAMI experiences. I'd like to bring a NAMI person, the president of NAMI. If you're listening or somebody is listening, I'd like to bring that person onto the show so that they can share some information with us on how we can further help our mentally ill, because we know that once something happens negative, we talk about it for a minute or two, and then it's back to business as usual. And I just don't want to see that continued. I'd like to see us have a real talk, and that's what this show is all about. Real talk, straight talk with real people.
Real talk, straight talk with real people, and also bringing real practical solutions that can actually be quite simplistic if or when we choose to truly implement them the way I know that we can. We can have such a power collectively, because we can't do everything individually. We can take the initiative individually, and since we have this show now, we can reach out. I mean, this is global voice broadcasting, which means we're all over the world, which means anyone can call in from anywhere in the world that may have some of the same challenges or issues that the next person may have. So
call in 323-522-5482. And we had a problem earlier with our caller, but go ahead and call back, caller. And those of you that are listening, call us and give us your comments or ask us questions. And you never know what you may do in life, because as I was mentioning, I helped a young man who has a little son that's, I think, maybe about 2 now or 3, and he wanted to commit suicide. And I talked him out of it because he had so much to live for, a beautiful wife and a son. And this is someone I had known for so long, and thank God his wife called me. And I helped him because he was discouraged because he couldn't find a job. And that's something that I read an article last week about. So many people, the suicide rate is really up now because so many people feel helpless and hopeless. And that's what Aim to Purpose is all about. Helping people not to feel helpless and hopeless, because we're all in this together. We're connected in love together. And we fail to use that word in a positive way. So often we use it, and many of us don't really have it at heart what it's all about. And when I say at heart, I mean utilizing your brain as well as your heart to realize the true meaning of what love is all about. Genuinely loving someone else and connecting with them. And that's what I did with this young man, because I genuinely love him and I connected with him. A vet who had gone to war and fought for our country. And many of the vets come back into this country, they can't find jobs.
Right.
And that's humiliating. It's frustrating in a country this rich. We shouldn't have this problem. We shouldn't have all the poverty that we have. Aim to Purpose is about all of that. And I know Ken.
And then some.
And then some. Go ahead,
and
Ken.
Then some.
I'm proud of my son, as you know, as you can tell.
Well, just when you're talking about the veterans, I may have someone that I could bring in here. I believe she's working with the vets. right now. But for me, it's disturbing that we send people to war or to fight these wars for only specific people know for what reason. And we send our young people to war, young, usually poor people that we send to war to fight because it's easier to convince them. I know that when I was in high school, you had you had the recruiters that would come in and set up their little booths for the high school students, telling them that if you join the military, you can be all that you can be. And they, because they may have no direction, because they may not know what else they want to do in life, because they may feel like they don't have skills or they haven't discovered their skills or their purpose in life, they feel that joining the military is their only way to go. And so they do that, but the end result is usually in either insanity or what's called now post-traumatic stress disorder, which is the most common of, quote, psychological illnesses. Because as human beings, in war, we see things that we're never supposed to see. And I won't even get into that. I mean, this is a premiere of our show, so I don't want to get too graphic. But at the same time, our veterans that fight to protect us, which is another subject that I hope that I can get into in the future about war and its concepts and who creates them. But for the people that decide to go to war, they're the ones that come back the real victims, because when they come back, like my mom said, they have no jobs to come to. They're physically, mentally, and emotionally beaten and broken down.
Yes, they're drained.
They're drained.
They're drained. And that's sad. They should have jobs waiting for them. They should have the best health care. I mean, we're living here in California, and when you go down on Skid Row and you see what is happening, it's a shame. It should not be happening. Many of these people are vets. I've gone down there, and I mean, I've given money because many of them will help you to tell you, oh, I'll watch your car. I'll do this. And I mean, I thank them. And so many of us don't have a voice. We feel we don't have a voice, but we do have a voice because we're the masses.
Right.
We're the masses. So we have a voice. And I get excited about talking about some of these things because it's heartbreaking to me when we don't use the brain power that we have. There is so much that we have, so many gifts and talents, and many of us don't even realize it because we have not tapped into that brain power. And that's what we want you to do. And we intentionally did not have a guest for our premiere show because we wanted to share with you who we are. And we wanted to give you information as to what our show, Aim to Purpose, the radio show, is all about, with myself, Louise Hicks, and my son, Kenan Wesley Mason. And we're going to have global guests. I have a guest coming soon out of Canada, Brenda Pierce. Next week, I have a guest coming out of Pennsylvania, Dr. Roma Benjamin. The following week, I have an author, Carrie Cannon, coming out of New York.
From New York City.
And so we have guests lined up waiting to come on the show to share with you many dynamics of life and how we can all connect in love together to help each other, to hone our skills, to
sharpen the axe.
Sharpen the axe. Yes, Ken, say it. We're going to sharpen that axe. And we want you to call in and give us information.
You can call in. You can give us comments and observations of the show as the weeks move forward, as we will definitely make this as dynamic as possible. Speaking of the brain power that you just mentioned, I'll be in the future speaking about a lot of things about how the human brain actually functions and how we can actually connect and create what's called a mastermind to literally get certain things accomplished. When it comes to being aimed to your purpose and having a purpose for your aim, there's always solutions or possibilities for you to pass along goodness or greatness or love to someone else. Take the initiative to do something, because doing something is better than doing nothing and sitting back and wondering why this is happening in the world, why this is happening here in Los Angeles, why isn't this thing getting better, why isn't that getting better, why aren't the politicians doing what we vote them in office to do, why aren't the CEOs, why are they doing this, anything and everything, domestic challenges that people may have within the household.
Yes.
So we're here to bring
much.
We're here to bring anything and everything as far as life topics, but also doing our best to bring life solutions, because if we don't have solutions, the problem will continue, and with that is called insanity, doing the same things over and over again expecting a different result.
So true. That is insanity.
Yes.
Because we're going to have in-house guests as well. We're going to bring people into the studio here, and they'll be able to share with you some of the things that Ken just finished speaking about, and that's going to enlighten you and open up your mind and your heart, because sometimes people will say, oh, just go with your heart. And that's fine. Go with your heart. However, don't forget to bring that brain along with you, because that's how we make so many mistakes. And believe me, I've been in a cesspool, and that's why I say I can share with you so much, but I found a way to get out. There are so many solutions to life's journey, but we just have to learn how to tap into those various solutions to help us along our journey, so that instead of having a negative journey, we can have a more positive journey. Although we know we're going to have challenges along the way. As long as we're living, we're going to have challenges. However, those are nothing but lessons. That's what I see them as, lessons.
All challenges are more or less experiences that they're experiences that we have, and the obstacles are there as the challenge. We all have a certain path down that yellow brick road to the Emerald City. So it's up to us to become self-aware of what comes in front of us, being aware of our surroundings, being aware of the people that we choose to come in contact with us, people that we choose to have come into our world. You know, we're all stars and co-stars, if you will. I'm a co-star in my mom's world, as she's a co-star in my world. And we feed off of each other. And we feed off of each other. And this makes for a show that will go in all directions, so everyone can pick up on something. Even if it's the little minute thing, you'll have a new cognition about something in your life to where you can bring about or bring forth a better solution. Not that it'll be always perfect, but in striving to have that better life situation, you'll know that if you follow, or when you follow your gut intuition, it will never steer you wrong. And that's something that I'm still working on. My mom is, we're all working on being better at whoever we choose to be, because that's what it's about, getting better and getting to a point to where we can expand and be able to share more of ourselves to the world, and that way it will snowball into a network of people that will be aimed to their purpose.
That is so true. And when we come back, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, I want to share with you. And as Ken said, we feed upon each other. And that is so true. And I want to share with you a little bit more about that brain power and the Iona and the it thing, as I call it. So we'll be right back. Stay with us. And thank you for joining us at our premiere show today here on Global Voice Broadcasting.
Voice Broadcasting.
Okay, we're back after that awesome commercial break with the music from none other than my own son. I'm so proud of him, Ken and Wesley Mason. Now, Ken was talking about how we have that internal intuitive outlook on life, and that can carry us a long way. Now, I call it my it thing. And that it thing, I call it, is that internal trainer that we're all born with. And sometimes I don't think we realize that we're all born with an internal trainer. That's our Iona, the intuitive, operative, natural ability. And that's something that I named it because that's what I feel that I have. I have an internal trainer that I was born with. All of us, I believe, are born with that DNA, and that drives us. It's like a GPS system.
Yep.
It drives us to where we need to go and where we want to go, because you can really have anything you want in life. It's all about faith and about those elements I had given you earlier: the vision, hope, faith, knowledge, and by all means action, because you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't take some action, you're not going to reach your destination. And when I was that little 12-year-old girl sitting on my grandmother's porch and I envisioned being a best-selling author, well, I am a best-selling author of my book, A Hill to Climb. I did not envision that I would be sitting here in Hollywood, California, bringing to you Aim to Purpose. So we don't know where we will end up in life, where our journey will take us.
Yep.
And I never envisioned that my oldest son would be here with me sharing a broadcast to you from Global Voice Broadcasting Network here in Hollywood, California, and sharing his DNA with you, me, and just across the globe. Because this is something, like I said, we are all connected in some form or fashion. And as we continue on this journey, which is short, so it's urgent that you figure out what your gifts and talents are. And we're going to have a show in-house about young people, because we know many of our young people are not aimed to purpose, and they need guidance. Many of the parents need guidance on how to help their children to get aimed to purpose, because we're not born knowing how to parent our children. And that's
There's no manual for that one.
That's right. There's no manual for it.
No textbooks for being a parent.
Go ahead, Ken. Because you're right.
Really quick before we wrap it up, there is no textbook with what it takes to be a sufficient parent. I'm a soon-to-be father towards the end of this month, and observing all of the parents that I have, my mom, friends of hers, and people that I've come in contact with over the years, I've observed their parenting styles and other people's parenting styles. And so I have a clearer understanding of what my role will be as a parent. So I thank everybody that has come into my life for that purpose, so I can go into that part of my journey.
And that's what we want everybody to be able to do, to have a clear understanding in your head as to who you are. So when you look in the mirror, you can feel proud. And I have a saying that Ken brought to you on the introduction of me, and I want you to remember this, because I'm sure I'll tell you this at every show. Your power lies within you. Let it loose. And until next week, we want you to get aimed to your purpose. And thank you for joining us here in Hollywood live on the Global Voice Broadcasting Network.
Yes.
And we'll see you next week.
Next week, GVB.